everyone, my name's Sam. Thanks for checking out this video. If you didn't like it, then subscribe, bell notification. Yeah, you know that thing. May to June. So this is our May to June haul because everything that happened in May. Yeah, so, some of these were pre-orders, I guess is the best defense I can come up with. But, like, I did not restrain myself as much as I was hoping I would. Part of my brain, though, is like, oh, publishing is hurting because some people lost their jobs. I am lucky enough that I didn't lose my job. Therefore, I should try to subsidize the loss of income. I don't know why my brain just justified it like that, but it did. That's part of its fault. But also, like, these are generally all books that I was already like, oh, I'm interested in, or, oh, my books are actually freaking had it, or they went on sale, and I was like, shit, like, kinda, why wouldn't I buy it at that point? So yeah, these are all the books that I managed to accumulate in the month of May and June. I don't think I have any more coming in June. If I do, I'll just throw them into the July haul. So, these are the books. So first up, I picked up a copy of The Mystery School of Musicraft by Jessica Corey. I've actually already read this. This was an Audible exclusive original to begin with, and then they decided to go and get it paper published. I absolutely love it. Even if you get the paper copy, which is actually quite pretty, I really do recommend listening to the audiobook because it's about music. It's essentially Hogwarts, but magic is kind of tied to music, and they have like a full like choir and everything in the audiobook. It's really good. The end pages aren't anything special, but the underdust jacket is a lilac and the spine is silver there, and it's got a little bit of texturing on there. It's not completely blank, but it's relatively simple, and the cover is a glossy finish. I also picked up Into the Hourglass as well as Ever After Song by Emily R. King. These are the sequels to Before the Broken Star, which I binged the day I got, and oh my god, it was amazing and good, and these covers are so dang pretty, just like the first book. So I honestly can't remember which one is book 2 and 3. I don't even know anymore, nor do I really care. So this is the cover. Underdust jacket is a royal blue, and then here we have this tie-dye with a clock thing on the front and back. It is hella pretty and super worth the price, at least in Canada. So, the main character has like a clock operated by like, it's like a steampunk, like with gears and stuff, and then if it gets flooded, that's not good. So I'm gonna probably, I don't know what I'm gonna do with this series. I kind of want to binge them, but I'm also like, maybe I should just read all 3 together. I don't know. And then the other book is more of a green leaning blue, and or is it blue leaning? I don't know. It's just got a lot of green undertones to it. The end is a robin Z blue, and then the underdust jacket again is that tie-dye with under the water sort of elements with a clock, and more green leanings. And oh, the sun just told. So I impulse did buy You Deserve Each Other by Sarah Hogel when it went on sale at Indigo, and I am so happy that I did. I read it right away, and it is fantastic. Again, a lot of Gilmore Girls dialogue, very funny, very enemies, from lovers to enemies back to lovers sort of plot. It's very like set in, it's very like white people in the middle of, you know, the Midwest-ish sort of sounds like. But I feel like it has a lot of elements that I think a lot of people can just relate to. The main character, you know, doesn't go to college. She kind of just like doesn't know what to do in this small town where like jobs are kind of disappearing, and then her douchebag of a fiance and all that happens between them. Highly recommend. And it's also a really pretty like hot pink and magenta color. I really like this color. I finally got my copy of Between the Burning Worlds, a System Divine duology. I'm actually in the middle of reading it right now, as you can tell. So, I don't think I can say anything about this without spoiling everything that happens in Sky Without Stars, but it is a Les Mis meets the Lunar Chronicles retelling, which it definitely holds up to that. The underdust jacket is red with this little emblem. The first book does have one of 2. There's 2 different emblems that can be on the first one. I think they're like for the Space Confederacy cadet things. I don't know if book 2 has the same thing or it's all the same one, but I freaking love it, and it matches the first one, and the like whole like steampunk in space thing, just and then the like grayed out red fleur-de-lis in the background. I love the designs of this series. And also I really appreciate that they managed to put a blurbing of Marissa Meyer on the back. I know that you can't really do that for like Hugo, but like I really appreciate that from Marissa Meyer because they have so adamantly marketed as Lunar Chronicles meets Les Mis, which it really does hold up to. So I think for my birthday I bought this because I hadn't seen it on sale like anywhere at all. So Blackbird Girls by Anne Blankman. This is her middle grade book. It's set during the Chernobyl meltdown, and there's a 2 girls there. Both of their fathers work at the plant, and when it's melting down, One of them is Jewish, and one of them was brought up in a very anti-Semitic home, so they never really got along, but through a series of events they have to kind of flee that area into mainland Soviet Russia, and find their new place. And it kind of talks very, very a little bit about, well, not very little bit, it doesn't focus so much on it, but about the government trying to cover up everything that was happening with Chernobyl, like restricting how many people could travel, and then people getting separated, and then a lot of it focuses on anti-Semitism, which I feel like we do forget a lot about just because of the time period of what was going on, or what had just finished happening during World War II, that as someone who's studying Russian history, Russia has a huge, huge issue with anti-Semitism. And especially during the Soviet era when you had the Iron Curtain, on top of all that, it's very fascinating. And do full frontal trigger warning though that there is mental and physical abuse against one of the children. So it's not the easiest read, but it's such a good book. I'm so glad I own it. And it's a glossy cover finish. The under dust jacket is purple. Not quite sure why purple. I would have figured blue, but it's pretty either way. And then the spine is silver. I also kind of impulse bought Fortune, Fire and Stars, I'm pretty sure for my birthday as well, by Andrea Robertson. She's written something else under a different name and has hit New York Times bestseller, so you may want to check Goodreads to find that out. It's a new series, but like main character has like the power to like make special crap with blacksmithery stuff, that's not the right word, but you know what I mean, to help, and these two kids are ousted from their rightful positions as heirs when the community is kind of taken over, and then in a little while they come find her to like, let's get our throne back, you know? Under dust jacket is like this burnt orange, and then the spine is gold lettering, so it looks a little bit like more classy, I guess is the word I'm trying to think of, but like, I don't know why. I was expecting like a bright orange underneath the cover, you know what I mean? I managed to buy off, well, I guess I didn't buy it off, I just had to pay for the shipping, of the Owl Crate edition of The Kingdom of Back by Marie Lu. I have ranted before that I think the one in stores is absolute basic bitchness, especially since they knew it was Marie Lu, they knew it was going to hit New York Times bestseller, they knew it was going to sell really well. It has a beautiful cover, why the fuck would you not do anything with it? So Owl Crate did something with it. So it is a lighter blue versus the in store is like a dark, like navy blue, and then all of the designs are kind of just emphasized more by that little detail. The edges are silver painted as well, so pretty. This one is signed. There's also a beautiful map in as the end pages there. It is signed because it's the Owl Crate one, and the under dust jacket is the navy blue. That's basically what was in stores, but then they put the silver tree on it, and then the spine as well. So lots of silver and blue, which I think are very complementing colors, and I've also read this and thoroughly enjoyed it. I also got my pre-order copy of Elysium Girls by Kate Pentecost. This is set in Oklahoma. I think it's, yeah, Elysium, Oklahoma, and the people in the area are God-fearing. I don't imagine that's super out of the realm of Oklahoma. I've never been there. I live in Canada. We kind of just homogenize a lot of your states together. But anyways, all of a sudden it shows up and it's like, actually, there's two gods, and we like messing with shit. So you have 10 years to like prove yourself to exist, and we'll come back and decide what to do with you, and then enter a 17-year-old, and there's supposed to be like these races and dust sands and all that stuff. It sounds hella cool. I'm very excited to read it ASAP. I finally got a finished copy of Fireborn by Rosario Munda. I've already read this book a while ago now, and absolutely freaking loved it so much. I'm so excited for whatever the sequel does come out. I think it's 2021 dated right now. The under dust jacket is black, and the spine is gold. Nothing pretty on the end pages. I wish they would have put like a dragon or something underneath there, but they didn't. But anyways, I remember it being blurbed as like Hermione meets Plato or something like that, or like Hermione meets Daenerys is it Daenerys Targaryen, the dragon girl from Game of Thrones that goes crazy. I remember just thoroughly loving it though, and I'm really excited for whatever comes, and now I have my own finished copy. And because when I found Fireborn on Book Outlet, I needed to buy one more thing in order to use a gift card. Anyway, it made sense financially, don't worry. So I picked up The Chosen by Taran Matharu. It's his new series. I never ended up actually reading the Summoner series. I think I owned a couple of the books, but I think my dogs peed on them, and then I unhauled them, and I just never got back to it. I just know they're supposed to be like assassins and like discovering crap and like dictatorial governments. This is YA fantasy. So I'm excited to read this, hopefully before the end of the summer is my goal. And just like Fireborn, I think it's got the exact same. It's got blood red pages on the end at least, but the under dust jacket is black and the spine is silver. I also picked up Unnatural Magic by C.M. Wagoner. It went on sale, and then I looked and my Indigo store had it, so I was like, screw it, and I went and bought it. It sounds like a lot of like women going against the status quo that are like, no, women can't do that, and there's magic in it. I know there's like goblins and trolls, everything like that, and I think there's a murder mystery. I was planning on trying to read it in June. I don't know if I'll get to it, but if not, it'll go on my shelf of, it went on your TBR, you should read this soon pile, which I go to when I get through my TBRs. I also got my pre-order of The Archer at Dawn by Swati Turdella. This is the sequel to The Tiger at Midnight. I've since read it. I read it as soon as I got it, basically. It's wonderful. It's not as weird and out of place as I thought it was going to be when they released the cover. At first, when they released the cover, and I was like, there's something wrong with it. It doesn't look totally out of sync with the first one, especially when the spines are together. So I'm curious if it's going to all tie together with whatever the third book looks like. But I read it. I freaking loved it. I think you're going to love it if you liked the first book. That cat and mouse burning romance shit in the desert is just really good. And it's got a bit of a matte as well as some glossy foiling, and pages is nothing special. Under Dust Jacket is a bright yellow though, with this like purpley pink what's the word I'm looking for? Foiling? I don't know what the heck it is on the spine there. And it's the same kind of pinky purpley one that was on the first cover as well. There's kind of hues everywhere on a lot of the fonting and foiling of that purple pinkness, so it does tie together. The bright orange underneath though is very abrupt. I also finally picked up Children of Virtue and Vengeance by Tomi Adeyemi. This is the sequel to Children of Blood and Bone. I haven't been able to get the stupid sticker stuff off of there, so I'll have to try and use Google again. But anyways, I don't really want to read the summary because I just want to read it whenever I can get to it. I'm on hold through my library for the audiobook, and I really found the audiobook for the first one super helpful with the name pronunciation, as well as just term pronunciation, and it was a really good audiobook. I'm excited to read it. I remember most of Children of Blood and Bone, so I'm excited to read that. The Under Dust Jacket, I know the North American ones are different than the UK ones for the series, but it's like a robin's egg blue. Then we have this black symbol thing on the front, and then the spine is also with the black writing, and I like the blue, the touch of blue that's like it's the same in her headband, and then the red, is also on the Children of Blood and Bone original cover. So again, when I first got released, I was like, is this a new cover theme? Why would they change it? The first one sold so well. What are they doing? But it does, when you bring them together, they look a little bit more cohesive. I also finally decided to pay fullish price. I just really wanted this book, okay? The House Lucia by TJ Klune. I own my own physical copy of it now. I read this to the library via audiobook. It is the most damn whimsical thing I've read since Nevermore, okay? Everyone needs to read this book. It is the most preciousest thing that we need to all protect on this planet. Also it has male gay rep in it as well. So the cover is so freaking... It reminds me a lot of A Series of Unfortunate Events. I don't remember who it is, but isn't there like an aunt that like her house is like literally off a cliff and she's paranoid and like afraid of everything or something like that? But the husband's a really insane. It's amazing. The end pages is pretty similar to this, like the greeny in the sky on the front cover, and then the Under Dust Jacket is like a muted blue, and then the spine is silver with the same sort of typeset that the front cover has. So it's so very pretty. It's a lot of blue. I probably would have maybe put the Under Dust Jacket like the pinky purpley or something, but either way, it's so pretty. I'm so glad I own my own copy of it. It's amazing. Please, everyone, read this. My pre-order of The Queen of the Unwanted showed up as well. This, by Jenna Glass. This is the sequel to The Women's War. I read it as soon as I got it. I freaking loved it. There's going to be at least one more book, so I'm very excited about that. I love the cover so much. It only came out in paperback in North America. The first book came out in hardcover and then paperback. They skipped the hardcover on this one, and they did a cover change. I actually think it did a very big upgrade on this cover change. And now I own it, and I'm so happy. And if you liked the first book, you will like this one. I also picked up A Song of Wraiths and Ruin by Roseanne Brown. It's so pretty. It's got like a matte finish, but there's a lot of foiling on it. Like anything that's basically gold or silver has foiling. The spine is so pretty. The spine reminds me of something, but I can't figure out what the heck, like another book that I looked at, and I was like, oh, and I'm like, maybe it's the same publisher, like Epic Reads. They may be really good at spines. But the grayed out dark green on this is really pretty. I thought it was going to be more like a leprechaun-y sort of green, but it's not. And I actually really like it. It works with both the silver and the gold, which I feel like is kind of hard to do sometimes. The Under Dust Jacket is is a darker green, nothing on the end pages, and the spine is in gold. I'm so excited to read this, and congratulations to Roseanne Brown. It hit New York Times bestseller for the first week of sales, I think it was, because everyone was really pushing hard for this. A Song Below Water, and You Should See Me in a Crown, I think, were the 3 books that came out from Black authors, and I was super interested in this, so I grabbed it, and I'm so excited to read it really soon, hopefully. I also got my copy of My Calamity Jane by Cynthia Hand, Brody Ashton, and Joni Meadows. I'm so freaking excited to read this. It is their last in the Lady Janie's trilogy. They're then moving on to Mary's in the next trilogy that they've been contracted for. So this one is Calamity Jane. Calamity is her name, and Giroux Hunting's her game when she's not starring in Wild Bill's traveling show, that is. She reckons that, oh my god, why can't I read? She reckons that if a girl wants to be a legend, she should just go off and be one. There's also Frank the Pistol Prince Butler, is the #1 bachelor in the West. And then we have Annie Oakley. Yes, that Annie Oakley. And yeah, she finds herself with a suspicious bite-like, she finds herself with a bite-like, what the hell is a bite-like? What is wrong with me? She finds herself with a bite after going, like, hunting on the arm, and she turns tail for Deadwood. Oh my god, why can't I freaking read right now? After Giroux Hunting, am I even saying that right, goes south, and Jane finds a suspicious, like, bite on her arm, she turns tail for Deadwood, where there's been talk of a Giroux cure. But things aren't always what they seem, meaning the gang better hightail it after her before they're a day late and Jane short. What is wrong with me? I also got my pre-order copy of The Shadow One by Lori Forrest. This is the 3rd book in the Black Witch series, which, if you don't know, hi, my name is Sam, and I got called racist for like a year because I read the first book and was like, a book acknowledging racism is not a book being racist. Please learn the difference. In the YA community, which we're not big fans of that, apparently. We're big fans of just calling shit out and then not looking into it. So I'm nervous to read this, but I'm probably going to be reading this before the end of June anyways. So I'm just so excited. I wish they would do more with the Underdash jacket, because the covers of this series are so freaking pretty. It's all matte printed, and then the Underdash jacket is completely black, and then the spine is like an orange red to match the embers on the front. I'm so excited for this, but I also know it's gonna hurt, and I'll have to wait like forever for the next one. I decided to pick up The Empress of Salt and Fortune by, I don't know how to say her first name, I am so sorry, Ni Vo. It is a short novella. The cover is just so freaking cute, and the sequel is supposed to come out, I believe, in October. A young royal from the far north is sent south for a political marriage in an empire reminiscent of Imperial China. Her brothers are dead, her armies and the war mamas long defeated and caged behind their borders. Alone and sometimes reviled, she must choose her allies carefully. Rabbit, a handmaiden sold by her parents to the palace for the lack of 5 baskets of dye, befriends the emperor's lonely new wife and gets more than she bargained for. I just know it's supposed to be high fantasy feminist stuff, and it's blurbed by R.F. Kuang, so I was like, I gotta give it a go. The Poppy War is one of the best fantasies I've ever read, so. I also finally picked up my own copy of this, How You Lose the Time War by Max Gladstone and Amal El-Motar. I read this like over a year ago now. It is fan-freaking-tastic. If you have not read this book, just please do yourself a favor. Also highly recommend the audiobook. It was pretty good. But these 2 time travelers are basically in this like, and they're all on opposite teams. They're like in a romance via like letters and direct messages in this sci-fi novella like battle. It's fantastic. It's so good. It's so freaking good. I just need everyone to read it. And it finally came out in paperback. I remember the hardcover was a little bit more pricey in Canada, so I was like, so I waited, and now I have my own copy. One of the few impulse buys I did give myself this month was the Last Tang Standing. I'm so easily bought by marketing that uses the terms crazy rich Asians. It's sad, and I'm fully self-aware of it, and I'm like, whatever, it worked. So this came out in June, I think, but Crazy Rich Asian meets Bridget Jones' Diary. In this funny and irresistible debut about the pursuit of happiness and surviving one's 30s intact and opening up oneself for love. It just sounded really interesting. I don't really get pressure from my parents to like get married. In fact, my mom is adamantly like, don't do it. But She has her reasons. But I think just like at my point in my life, it's something I was talking to my friend the other day, that I am 28. I have never been in a serious relationship. I've never really had a boyfriend. I don't really know that I want kids. I think I actually don't. So like, I'm just, and then I see, and all my friends are like engaged, married, having their third kid. And I'm like, well, why do I live such a different life? And I'm like, I have 2 dogs. So I'm curious to see what this is going to be like, and just, I need a fun, like, contemporary romance. So, and I promised the last few, I picked up my own copy of To Have and To Hoax by Martha Waters. I have already read this. Absolutely freaking loved it. It's a giant game of chicken inside a marriage in like the Victorianish era where 2 people can't let shit go, and it's hilarious. I love the interaction between these 2. So highly recommend it, and my bookstore finally had a copy, and I was like, shit, I gotta buy it because I will definitely want to read this. Plus it's like this purple that I freaking love. So I also picked up Things in Jars by Just Kid. This was originally, I think, an Australian or New Zealand release, and then got released in North America eventually. It's set in Victorian era. It's got female sleuths in London, and the main character's like looking for this kid that's gone missing or something like that. So many people have recommended it to me. So many people. So I finally got it, and I'm reading it. That's not a word. Reading it in July. And finally, I picked up Sisters of Sword and Song by Rebecca Ross. This is, if you live in Canada, definitely go check your local Indigo. It was 25% off on the sticker on it, and then I also have the bonus Plum Points card, so that gave me an additional 10% off. So for a hardcover brand new release in Canada of a YA book, I got this for $14.84 or something like that. Super cheap. So I don't know how long the 25% off is, if it's just for like the first week of release, but if it is, just go take a look. Either way. But yeah, this is Rebecca Ross's fantasy standalone. I remember relatively enjoying The Queen's Resistance, or the first book is The Queen Uprising, something like that. The first book in her first YA series, and enjoyed it. I just never finished the series, but I've heard a lot of really, really positive things about this one. So those are all the books that I managed to accumulate in the month of May and June. I'll link these. Oh, will I link these? Oh my god, it's gonna be forever. I will link these books all as labeled on my, oh my god, on my Goodreads. I have a shelf called OWN, like OWN. I will I'll put all those on that shelf. And so you just go to my Goodreads. I will link all of my social media in the description box down below, including my Goodreads. And let me know in the comment section down below if you've read any of these, what your thoughts were, what you got in the last couple months, and how you're exercising self-control, because I need help.